Hello. Today, my friends, we are talking about football. More specifically, Week 9 of the NFL season. The 2021 season, to be super duper exact and overly precise. I have to admit my shame. For last week, I did not get most games correct. I got most of them wrong. I got 6 right. I'll get a little bit closer to the mic, lean a little bit more forward so y'all can hear me just a little bit more crisp. Because to explain these kind of videos, I talk about the NFL. I give predictions on how I think the games are going to end up. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. I don't do any sort of other trigger noises in this video. Sometimes I'll do my rings, but that's not very often. This video is almost exclusively, wow, I cannot talk right now. The video is almost exclusively me talking. Now I understand it's not what some of you are here for, so please click on my other videos. I have plenty. I have several, probably more than you can watch in one sitting. So feel free to peruse, and if you like hearing me talk, feel free to stay, because I do a lot of talking in this, unless the entirety of this is me talking. No. So let's get on with the content. So this is coming out after the Thursday night game, but don't worry, I already predicted the Thursday night game. It was kind of obvious. It's the Jets and the Colts. I sometimes have picked the Jets. I will say that. Sometimes I pick the Jets. But I wasn't going to pick up against the super good defense that the Colts is. So I picked the Colts, and I was right. But let's talk about how I did last week. 6 right and 9 wrong. 6 right, 9 wrong. That's not good. That's 2 right for every 3 wrong. I think. That brings my overall record on the year for predicting games to 75 right and 47 wrong. It's obviously still more in the favor of being right, but I like to be right all the time. If possible. Which is not, but still. Shoot for the stars, right? Alright, now on to week 9 and the predictions part of it. The very first game of the week is the Thursday night game. It's the New York Jets at the Indianapolis Colts. That game already happened, and I predicted the Colts would win, and lo and behold, they did. So I'm already off to a better start this week than I was last week. Moving on, we have the Las Vegas Raiders at the New York Giants. I personally think that the New York Giants are not a good football team. They're an okay team, and I think the Raiders have a lot more talent on their team than I gave them credit for at the beginning of the year. They also seem to want to win, even without Gruden, which is quality. So I think the Raiders are out to prove the point that they are still better coached than the Giants are, even without the guy they hired as their head coach. Maybe I should. My shoulders kind of hurts. Why? Excuse me. I'm just gonna get a little closer. Maybe this will do better. I'm gonna put it right here next to you so I can just glance over. Yeah. Yes, I think the Raiders will win that game at the New York Giants. The next game on my tote is the Atlanta Falcons at the New Orleans Saints, and I'm gonna pick the Falcons. I gonna be real with you. I'm never gonna pick the Saints to beat the Falcons. It's not gonna happen. I'll happily be wrong. That being said, I will pick the other teams to beat the Falcons sometimes. Just not the Saints. The Saints aren't going to be one of those teams I ever pick. I mean, I'll pick the Saints against other teams, just not against Atlanta. That's a special kind of hate. you know how division rivalries are, right? Like that's like a good one. That's like the Steelers Ravens kind of one. It's like what the Bears-Packers used to be. Just mean, and both teams hate each other. Usually it's a good game. Sometimes it's not, but usually it's a very good game. At the very least, it's like an intense game. A good intense game of football. Don't know why I just said it like that, but we're going to move on. Going on to our third game of the two is the Buffalo Bills at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, do I think that one of the worst teams in the league is going to win at home against arguably the best team in the league? Of course not. I'm not silly. No, I'm a little silly. I'm just not that silly. So I'm going to pick Buffalo to win at Jacksonville, obviously. The next game is the Cleveland Browns at the Cincinnati Bengals. And both teams are coming off a loss to a team they should have beat. The Bengals to the Mike White-led Jets. The Browns to the Ben Roethlisberger-led Steelers. Neither immediately strike fear into either NFL team right now, into any NFL team right now by saying those. Well, prior to this week, I guess. Mike White probably scares the whole NFL now. Which, in case you didn't know, he has the most passing yards for any Jet quarterback in one game. Even more than Joe Namath, as far as I know. Next game. Oh, sorry, I didn't even pick that game. I think the Bengals will win because I think the Bengals have a bit more momentum almost. Like, they're probably kind of stunted because they were an ascending team. They're probably kind of angry that they almost lost, and that they did lose to the Jets, and I know they're angry because of the rule at the end. Like, that's a ticky-tack kind of thing. It shouldn't, in my opinion, it shouldn't have been called the way it was, because, like, I guess I see it. I'm not, like, super angry about it, but I would be if that were my team, you know what I mean? So I'd be upset, and I'm sure they are. Cleveland's probably upset because they lost to the Steelers again. But I watched that game, and they played awful. They did not play good. Defense played okay, like pretty good for most of the game, because Steelers' offense isn't super great anyway. But the run game didn't look super dominant, but then again, Steelers' defense is very good. However, Nick Chubb is coming off of an injury still. I don't have any talent in Nick Chubb whatsoever. I love Nick Chubb, and I have so much faith in him. But I have faith in, not Baker, but the receivers. Like, the passing game, 1, Beckham's gone. 2, Beckham wasn't even a factor. I'm going to say it now, he's overrated. He had 1 good catch, and that made his whole career. Hold on, let me cool off the mic, because it's a hot take, I guess. But he made 1 great catch, and he's very fast, and he had a very good rookie contract. He hasn't been close to the same receiver since. The best receivers work with whoever the quarterback is. Look at DeAndre Hopkins. He has had 19 quarterbacks. That might be a slight of a hyperbole, but he's been more successful than Odell Beckham Jr. ever sniffed. And people put them in the same category. That's just not right. Sure, he's talented. He can make some crazy catches. He's not a refined route runner. He doesn't know how to read defenses from what I know. He probably knows more about football than I do, but based on my stupid, silly little analysis that I'm over here spouting on the internet, which you take with as many grains of salt as you want, because I'm just some guy. But I do have an opinion, and I'm gonna say it. I'm sorry for that, for that mini Beckham rant, but the receivers played awful last week. I think I saw him drop a pass, not 100%. I know I saw Landry drop 2 or 3. I saw Higgins drop 4. It did not look good. Baker put the ball in good spots. He wasn't perfect or amazing, but he was good. He played good. He's injured. He played good. The receivers just dropped so many passes, dude. It was as someone who was rooting for the Browns to watch, it was very frustrating. Good thing that wasn't my team, or it's not my team, or else I'd be very frustrated. It's raining here. I don't know if you can hear that. I doubt you can, but still, it's somewhat somewhat peaceful for me. So both teams are descending, but I think one's more angry about it. That's the Bengals. So after that long-winded rant, I'm going to pick the Bengals to win at home against the Browns. Moving on to the game 5. That's right, folks. We're still on pick 4. The game pick 4. New England at Carolina. I'm gonna pick the Patriots. The Panthers are a slightly ascending team. They played really well on defense last week. Their offense was. I personally despise watching an offense rely on a quarterback's running ability. There's one exception to that, and that's Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is the exception to every rule, so that's different. I don't like watching the Panthers offense rely on Sam Darnold's legs. You're a quarterback. I get that, like, when you run around more, it opens more passing lanes, but you shouldn't rely on the running part to make the passing lanes work, because that's when you get injured. And also, don't call back-to-back designed running plays for your quarterback until they get hurt, like what just happened last week to Sam Darnold. Also, know when to slide as a quarterback. You're smaller than these guys. It's just a fact. The modern NFL linebackers, 245, and can run super fast and develop a lot of momentum. Don't run into those guys, and you're going to have a longer career. It's pretty simple. At least slide beforehand, so at least if they do hit you, they get penalized an extra 15 yards. So I'm picking the Patriots because Mac Jones played like a much better quarterback than Sam Darnold ever has in his whole career so far. I'm glad I picked Mac Jones to be my rookie of the year. So far, according to PFF, he's been like the highest graded quarterback since I think week 4, something like that. So like obviously it's not like huge, but that's something. It's something. It's not like world breaking, world ending, or like world creating, but like it's noteworthy. And I feel like their defense. If the Panthers win this game, it's because their defense shut out the Mac Jones led offense by the Patriots. If the defense isn't super stingy the whole game, I don't think they win. I think the Patriots win. I don't trust I don't trust the Panthers defense to do what it did to the Atlanta Falcons offense, what it did to the Patriots. I don't trust the Panthers defense to replicate what it did against the Falcons offense against the Patriots defense. I think I said it properly that way. That's not because I don't think the Falcons offense is better or worse or equal. I just simply think that the Falcons offensive line was the reason that they didn't work, period, last week. They kept getting swallowed, kept getting just overwhelmed. They couldn't create anything. Didn't have time. Patriots have a better offensive line than the Falcons. They always do, unless they have all the guys that are injured out still, or have a billion guys new like they did a few weeks ago. That's different. But if they have a solid O-line, which they normally do, they'll win this game. If they don't, then the Panthers will win this game. But I'm picking the Patriots at Carolina. Next game is the Denver Broncos. I'm getting warm. Next game is the Denver Broncos at the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm fairly certain that everyone's on the same page with this one. Oh, cool, I match. It's fun. It's fun. I didn't realize that. Wow. That's silly. Wow. I'm having fun. I hope you're asleep, but if you're still awake, we're going to talk about the Denver Broncos and how they're going to get beat by the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I don't know if you heard, but they traded their franchise face away today. Well, not today, but a few days ago. Von Miller. Big name, big deal, big pass rusher guy. He's going to the Rams now. Yeah, because the Rams needed to get better. I know, right? Yeah, that's kind of scary. But they got a second and a third for him, so that's good value. But the reason they traded him away is because they were going like 4-4 or whatever, something like that. They were 500 kind of team. Von Miller wanted a huge Halloween party and was like kind of forcing teammates to like donate money to it because he wanted to have it be like a 6-figure Halloween party. Von Miller's an eclectic guy. He's a fun guy. He's crazy. I support him doing what he wants. I don't get why it was such a big deal. Like, you're 4-4. It's not like you're having a bad year, given the team isn't performing as well as they should. And they're playing like a 2-6 team. But don't you think that's more on you as a coach than it is on Vaughn wanting to be like a Halloween fun guy? Don't you think? Vic Fangio, I know you're watching. Vic Fangio. Why would you? You're trying to create culture, bro. You can't create. You're trying, bro. You're worried about the culture it's gonna create. You just traded away a guy that was trying to have fun. The best player on your whole team. Yeah, the best player in your whole team, better than Justin Simmons, still in my opinion. Maybe you should have traded the offensive coordinator away. The guy who said sometimes teams just don't want to score in the first half. I would have fired him so fast. If I were a head coach and like offensive coordinator said sometimes you just don't want to score in the first half, he'd be fired the next day. Maybe within hours. Because, hey, bud, your goal is to score every play. I know at the end you can't do that. So sometimes you got to do plays to set up other plays and drive down the field. You know, I know how it goes. It's not obvious that you can score. You can't score every play. But you should try to score every play. You should try to score all the time. The whole game. You can score the whole game. So why not try to do so? I get certain instances in which, like, you have like 10 seconds on the clock and you're not in Hail Mary range. Like, there's no reason to do that. It's more likely that it's going to be a turnover and a pick six or a fumble six, something you don't want. Just take the knee. I get those circumstances, but that's the outlier to the rules. What I'm saying. Long story short, the Dallas Cowboys are a very good football team. The Denver Broncos are not. The Dallas Cowboys are not perfect. They're pretty darn good. They're susceptible to the run, and they're also fairly susceptible to the pass too, but they do generate turnovers. So they get both ends of the spectrum, which kind of they get allow a lot, and they also get turnovers, so they kind of meet in the middle in terms of defensive quality. Offense, they still worked fine last week with Cooper Rush, I think was their quarterback, instead of Dakota Rain Prescott. Yes, his middle name is Rain, which is rad as hell. Just another reason I like him. He's going to be back, and that makes their offense just that much more scary, because if they can work fairly okay with Cooper Rush as their quarterback, imagine what they can do with a guy who arguably is either in or will be in consideration for MVP at some point during his career. I think he's already in consideration now, even with his injuries. The Cowboys are going to win. The next game is the Minnesota Vikings at the Baltimore Ravens. Purple on purple violence. Purple. I personally think the Ravens are a better team, even if banged up. I have to admit, the Vikings... What the heck is my hair doing? I have to admit, the Vikings don't scare me. They're a good team. They're a sneaky good team. Dalvin Cook scares me. Their offensive line is good. Their defensive line is okay. Their defense is... I don't have any strong opinion on it, to be honest. I'm just not super scared of it. However, the Ravens do tend to be kind of electric sometimes. And they're at home. And they're getting all three of their top receivers back for the first time this year, including first round pick. Well, he's been in a couple games, but first game with all three of them, with Sammy Watkins, Hollywood, and the first round pick Rashad Bateman. Gonna pick Ravens. Next game is the what are they called? They call those the Tank Bowls. Two losing teams that should just be losing at this point. However, one team should be more motivated to lose out than the other. The Houston Texans are playing at the Miami Dolphins. I thought Miami was a good team. Maybe I was wrong. They have talent in certain spots, but I guess they just... I don't know. I can't explain it. Maybe Brett Coleman will do... Coleman? I don't know. Maybe Brett Coleman will do a video on why the Dolphins aren't as good as he thought they were going to be, and maybe that will instead change their trajectory to then go on a late run and go like 8-8 or something like that. Or sorry, 8-9, 9-8. I'd like to see that. If you are unfamiliar with Brett Coleman, he does videos on NFL topics, which he actually he knows stuff. He knows stuff. Actually, a knowledgeable source. Like technique and all kinds of stuff. Stuff and things. But he does videos, and almost always, whenever he does a video on something, immediately after that, they perform whatever the video was on, performs terribly afterwards, or performs bad, or goes into a slump, or just goes their career goes down the drain, something along those lines. He calls the Coleman curse. I believe it's real. So maybe he should try to do one. You know what I mean? I've already explained this. I'm not gonna explain it again. He should do it on the Dolphins so they get good, because they've been so bad. The Houston Texans have been a sneaky, competitive football team that has a lot of fight in them. The Dolphins don't seem to be that. The Houston Texans, I think, have a little bit more going for them, and I think they're just going to work a little better, even if Tyrod Taylor doesn't play, which I think he will. Even if Davis Mills plays, I think they're going to win. Picking the Houston Texans. Next game is the Los Angeles Chargers against the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the Philadelphia Eagles could win this game. It's not out of the realm of possibility. But I think the Chargers are going to need to get back on track at some point. So why not be this game? Especially when the linebackers for this team are not good, and will very likely exploit that with Eckler. Or in breaking routes with Keenan Allen. One of the two. Probably both. So I'm picking the Chargers. Keenan Allen might get semi-neutralized by Darius Slay, but I don't think Justin Herbert's going to have a bad day or going to be super slowed down as a whole because of that. So I'm picking the Chargers. The next game is the Aaron Rodgers-less Green Bay Packers at the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I really debated on picking who to pick for this game, because honestly, if Aaron Rodgers played, it's the Packers easy. But Aaron Rodgers isn't playing against Jordan Love. Now, don't get me wrong, the Packers are a good team. Even defensively, they're a good team. So this should be a good game. And the Chiefs aren't the powerhouse they normally are, as everyone knows. They're struggling this year. However, I think that the Chiefs are gonna have enough frustration, enough not anger, but desire to get back into the swing of things, that it's gonna work at least decently against the Packers that might be kind of discombobulated right now, might be kind of on their heels as a whole because of the whole Rodgers situation. And I almost picked the Packers, but I'm picking the Chiefs because I feel like they haven't given up on their season yet. And I don't have a whole lot of faith in Jordan Love, but I don't think he's going to be the reason they lose. So I'm picking the Chiefs at home against the Packers. Next game is the Arizona Cardinals at the San Francisco 49ers. If the San Francisco 49ers win the game, it's by dominating the run game with blocking and speed, which they can do. But I think the Cardinals are one of the best teams in the league, and I think they're going to be fine. As long as Kyler isn't super banged up from last week, and D-Hop, even if D-Hop's not okay, I feel like they're going to be okay. So, paying the Cardinals. Next game is the Tennessee Titans at the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams got better by getting Von Miller this week. They were already one of the better teams. They already would have got picked this week. Julio Jones is still hurt. Derrick Henry broke his foot. I'm picking the Rams. The Titans are a descending team right now, which sucks because they had a lot of promise. They had some spunk to them as a team. The Von Miller now Rams are going to win this game. And on to the last game of the week is the Chicago Bears at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, Justin Fields, you're going to play against a very hard defense this week, like you have been recently. It might be a little rough. Try to exploit the corners because that's probably the weakest part about their whole defense. Linebackers are solid. Outside linebackers are solid. Line is incredible. Their defense, again, the safeties are pretty darn good. Their defense, nothing to trifle with. Their offense, though, if you get a couple pick sixes or a strip sack in a good spot, that's how you win the game, which is very possible against these Pittsburgh Steelers. However, I'm picking the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think they're gonna give Fields enough of an issue to where they can kind of control the game and not make Ben do too much. And Ben's happy. Again, Ben's going to be happy to do not too much, and it'll be enough to win the game for them. Now, before I go back through all of these picks, as a recap, I'm going to mention two things I kind of mentioned a little bit during when I was talking about it. I'm going to directly talk about it. Aaron Rodgers is out because he has COVID and he did not get vaccinated, but he said he was immunized prior. Aaron's out. Not for too long, but it is an interesting situation. Aaron's just a very interesting individual. Now, if he said he knows that there's certain things in the vaccines that he would have been allergic to, I get that. And but the other thing that he said was he didn't want to get the Johnson & Johnson because it causes blood clots. However, that was only a woman, but I don't know too much about the whole shebang. So I'm only going to tell you what was said and what happened. I don't really have an opinion on it. My opinion doesn't change anything. So why should I have one on it? You know what I mean? It doesn't really relate to me. It relates to the Packers organization. It relates to Aaron Rodgers. I just don't have an opinion on it. I don't really want to give one, if you know what I mean. It's been way too divisive, and it's almost like everyone has seemed to been like, yes, I agree with him, but everyone's also at the same time going, I don't like what he said. It's like he pissed off and made everybody else happy at the same time. He both pissed off and made everyone happy, equal parts to everyone. You know what I mean? It's a weird NFL season. That's what it is. He'll probably play in 2 weeks, and we're gonna say nothing about it ever again. It is what it is. He's being talked about now, but that'll get dropped in 2 weeks when he's back to slinging touchdowns. That's how the NFL works. But someone I hope doesn't ever come back to the NFL is a Mr. Henry Ruggs. Now, I don't normally like to be on my high horse about certain things and talk down to individuals, because I don't think that's personally my place. I'm just a guy. But this is a PSA to anybody who's watching this. Don't drink and drive. There's no reason to do it. There's the thought process of paying for an Uber. Paying for an Uber is expensive to go home, and you're right, but so is drinking, especially at a bar. So if you're going out to drink, you should know to have money for one, the drinks, and two, the drive home. Or just don't get that messed up so you can't drive home. That being said, that's how it is for everybody. Mr. Ruggs is a special case. Not only is he a very wealthy individual, he's an NFL player. He's an extremely wealthy individual. And he's a first round pick too, which means he's in like one of the upper tiers of even just rookies. He's in like an upper tier. So not only does he have an exorbitant amount of money that he could have spent a small amount on an Uber to get home, but there's also an NFL driving service where they drive players if they're drinking. I've read 24/7 offered to all NFL players. Pretty sure they talk about that in like the whatever it's called. It's not. What's the word for that? It starts with a C. But it's like a big meeting whenever you first enter some sort of organization or something like that. They give you like a whole rundown on what everything goes. And I'm fairly certain they talk about that, because they really should. I'm pretty sure they do. Because if random guys on the internet know about it, it's fairly certain the people who work for that company do as well. And who have access to that, luxury and privilege, honestly. Because they have so much money, they can pay for as many Ubers as they want, and they still have a free driving service. And this man decided, I don't want to use either. I'm so messed up. I just want to go home. I want to drive 156 miles per hour. It was a 40 or 60 mile per hour zone. I get he's like a speed demon receiver and like super fast, but there's more to life than just going fast. A wonderful dog and a 23-year-old woman lost their life because someone was negligent and just wanted their ego fed. I'm just here to talk about football. I'm sorry I'm making this real. I just something that legitimately bothered me as a person about the NFL this week. Henry Ruggs, you should feel bad about what you did. I know you're never gonna see this, thankfully. But I also hope you never see the field again, because you don't know what to do with your privilege, and you don't know what to do with the things that were given to you. I need to think of something to cheer the mood up now. Yeah, I got something. I don't think that joke was necessarily funny, but I needed to make a joke, so I made a joke. Now back to the topic at hand. Back to the more lighter stuff and less sensitive matters. Y'all normally don't see me any sort of mad. I normally don't get any sort of mad, to be honest. I'm a very relaxed individual. I don't get riled up about certain things, about hardly any things. But that was something that legitimately bothered me. And I'm sure you could tell with the tone of my voice. So my point of that isn't to antagonize anybody. My point of that is to please understand that bad things do happen. through negligence, through intent. They happen regardless. So please be aware of your own actions, integrated or not. They have ramifications on others. And just think about others whenever you do things. In this instance, don't drink and drive. Now, thank you for watching. To recap, I'm going to give you all of my Week 9 predictions. If you're here still after that rant, love you. Be safe. Care about you. I promise. Gotta go back through and predict all the games again in order. I have the New York Jets losing at... Sorry, let me burp real fast. Not a very loud one. I have the Indianapolis Colts winning at home against the New York Jets. I have the Las Vegas Raiders winning away at the New York Giants. I have the Atlanta Falcons winning away at the New Orleans Saints. I have the Buffalo Bills winning away at the Jacksonville Jaguars. I have the Cincinnati Bengals winning at home against the Cleveland Browns. I have the Dallas Cowboys winning at home against the Denver Broncos. I don't know why I said it that way, so I'm going to say it again. I have the Dallas Cowboys winning at home against the Denver Broncos. I have the Baltimore Ravens winning at home against the Minnesota Vikings. I have the I have the Houston Texans winning away at the Miami Dolphins. I have the Los Angeles Chargers winning away at the Philadelphia Eagles. I have the Kansas City Chiefs winning at home against the Green Bay Packers. I have the Arizona Cardinals winning away at the San Francisco 49ers. I have the Los Angeles Rams winning at home against the Tennessee Titans. And lastly on the week, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers winning at home against the Chicago Bears. Thank you for watching. I apologize for the delay on this video. Happy football, sweet dreams.